Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. We are going to put back together our Smith & Wesson M&P shield. Um, did say that we're going to put a trigger kit in it, which is what these little parts here are. Keep in mind with the shields that when you do this trigger kit, or any of them there, typically you have to retune this trigger bar a little bit, and that's this part here, this little horseshoe looking piece. That's got to be pushed down or lifted up to make it run correctly and still feel good. So I'm going to go ahead and get on with it, and we're going to here, let's see, we're going to put together this sear disconnector first, and it will go back into here like so. And this spring, I just try to kind of push it into place here, and that can be easily done with the screwdriver. I say that. Of course, doesn't want to cooperate with us now. Let's see if I can get this top coil there. See, I've got it. Just slide that in there, and it'll keep some pressure there, and we can take our pin and slide it through. There we go. And there. And that's all there is to that. And we're going to put our sear back in, and so we will have, I'll show you what that's for later. You get your new plunger, your safety, your firing pin block plunger and spring. That'll go in later. And we have, this will come into play here in just a minute. Well, actually, later on we'll put the gun back together. Trigger return spring, new sear spring. We'll put your little detent on there. And then on your sear block, there's a hole. Yeah, giggity. There, and that's where that's going to ride in. It's relatively simple. Drop it down in its hole. You're going to push the sear down on top of the spring, compress it a little bit, pop your pin through, and you're all done. Just don't let it get away from you, man. That detent is tiny, and she likes to run away. There we go. And we're going to put our sear in. It goes in like so. I don't know if you can see how that is, but we'll put it in like this. Where'd my pin go? Little sear pin. Oh, dipshit. It's right here. And the sear pin not only holds the sear in, but you can see it's got that big head on there, so it only goes through one way, and it also holds your ejector. I had already put that ejector back in. It just slides out. But that little nub there should be facing out, because that's what your trigger bar is going to ride on, is that guy. So now we got that. We're going to put our mag release. Let's get that guy back in. So we're going to stick it here. We'll pop that little spring up and see if we can't get that to slide past. And once it's in there, it's a lot like the Glocks. You just get the that spring to push over, and we're good. Let's go for, oh, we got to put your little safety back in here. See, it's back on. I think I did that off camera, but that little tit there. I just slide that in, wind it around this way and pop it up. Now you can drop it back down into its block like so. What's not cooperating? I think it's that little disconnector pin stopping us. Oh, just need a little coaxing. Take that, and then I'm going to put the roll pin back in. Roll penny punch. It should be good. Let's see, slide part, we'll put that up there. And now, and then, we are going to put our trigger bar back in. And on this new one, the pin's already inside the deal there. You don't reuse the old one. Just get it lined up like that. Okay, fine. There we go. A little too far in that mother frogger. Trying to do that without beating the crap out of this little anodized aluminum gizmo. I don't think that'll be a problem, but still doesn't seem to be flush. Now sticking that over here. I suck at this. Shop watch professional, not me. So there's that. This spring here, it just sticks up and goes in there. This part's really a pain in the ass. Well, one, because I'm stupid, I'm doing it wrong. Get that in there. Get it in there and do it right. Come on, sucker. There's where this little green thing that comes with any of these M&P trigger kits, and that's a sleeve pin to hold that spring where it needs to be as you reassemble the rest of the gun. So you can drop your trigger in and lose that fucking, god damn it. So we need to slide that trigger bar underneath our shear, and then get your trigger and everything else to set down like so. And then you're going to have to take your slide block, or locking block rather, and get it back into its hole. And then you've got to line up the holes on this trigger like so, and then take your trigger pin and push it, and it's detent through. And something ain't quite right. It really shouldn't be that hard. It more or less should just push through just like that. There we go. That's probably the easiest one of those have gone in for me in a very long time. When I was talking about tuning this trigger for this sear, what you can see here, when you pull the trigger, that piece has to engage the sear and then lift it. But it doesn't start moving. I mean, you can see how much travel there is. That's a pretty significant amount. Let's see. There's where it actually touches the sear. So, I mean, it's a pretty significant amount of travel, and that's more or less what you're tuning out of that is that take up. But you have to be very careful because you'll end up with reset issues if you overdo it. And you'll just have to read the instructions according to your gun, the trigger, or whatever that you're using. Fucking hell. Once again, I'm an idiot. And there we go. Let's try this all over again. I'm trying to get our fucking trigger bar back in here. We'll put our slide stop and locking block back in. And we'll get everything lined up. Get her to push through. Did I get the spring? Oh, I got the spring and everything. Hooray! The only thing else we have to put in is our takedown lever. And you'll see that little nub. And you'll see where it corresponds into the locking block. You can get it in there, rotate it down, and then we're going to put our other roll pin in. Roll pin punch. Fuck. The fuck. God damn motherfucking. Anyways. That's all there is there on the frame. The slide's pretty easy and pretty straightforward. One thing I did say on the disassembly that I was incorrect on was that we'd be using or not using the striker spring. The DNA results have found that to be a lie. I am in fact using this over again. I didn't realize this kit didn't come with that, so there we go. Anyways, this little guy is just gonna drop down here. Oh, don't forget your little plastic cap here that you pulled off the old spring. Put that back on. Drop that in, and that's what this little homie is for. It's dovetailed. It's on the back here. You can slide that in, and it won't screw up this little plastic piece. And now you can drift your rear sight back in. But we are going to be replacing the sights on this anyways. And so we have the new sights. These are TrueGlow TFX Pros. If you guys haven't checked these things out, they're pretty friggin' amazing. I've got TFXs or TFX Pros on at least 3 of my guns, if not 4 of them, and I love them to death. I think they're wonderful. The company's great. They have great customer service. You know, they got 1 or 2 assholes over there, don't get me wrong, that's every company, but, you know, it's all there. Stupid camera died on me, so I had to grab the other camera, and anyways, so we're gonna go put the sights back on this thing, and then I'll put the doobie bop back in here. So yeah, give me a second, and I'll be right back. And there we are, sights on, They're pretty good looking sights. I like them. They're tritium and fiber optic, so they glow pretty much all the time, and they got that big bright orange front dot, so it gets you pretty quick acquisition on the stuff. I enjoy their sights. They're typically pretty good people to work with too, so they supply all of my refill fiber for like shotgun beads and whatever else has fiber in it I can replace for people. Striker goes in, you know, you got to push the little hootie kai thing here to get it to pop back or whatever. Then your end plate will go on. Right there, there. Make sure your Dingledorf there is down. Pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot of take up in that I've got to tune out of it, but overall it's got a really good feel to it. You know, once you hit the wall there. Some things that I am going to do is this little surface right here, because that's the whole point of replacing this little plunger here, is because it's nice and polished, and they change the geometry just a little bit so it rides over it smoother. Well, that's what this here is interacting with. And so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to clean this up, because this is just stamped metal and they're not real smooth. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to smooth that up just a touch, not a whole lot. I just want to take the stamping shit out of it. But outside of that, I'm not touching anything else other than tuning the little bar there, so we reduce the take up a little bit. Anyways, that's all there is to the gun. Give me a like, a share, subscribe. I still haven't gotten any recommendations or anything like that people will see, so I mean, I'm literally just grabbing shit off the shelf as they come in, something I haven't done before to film. So if you've got something that you're specifically looking for, let me know. Thanks, have a good one.